The bomb bay doors open over Tokyo. 5,000 feet below, a city is burning. Bombardier Maynard David is at his station inside a Boeing B-29 Superfortress, watching the smoke rise up through the open bay. An odor fills the aircraft. Something thick, something wrong, and he cannot name it. He drops his bombs. He closes the doors. The plane turns south toward the sea. The odor does not leave. It has settled into the aircraft, into the walls, into his flight suit. The pilot orders him to open the doors again, to let the fresh air in. You could only imagine, David will say years later, what was going on down below us. More people were killed in this city, in this single night, than in Hiroshima. More than Nagasaki, more than any air raid in the history of the world. 100,000 people died before the sun came up on March 10th, 1945. The world has largely forgotten its name. In the summer of 1944, the United States Army Air Forces completed the most expensive weapons program of the war. Not the Manhattan Project, but the B-29 Superfortress, the largest, most sophisticated bomber ever built. Range to reach the Japanese home islands from the newly captured Marianas. Altitude to fly above Japanese fighters and most anti-aircraft fire. Bomb capacity that dwarfed anything previously flying. The B-29 was the weapon that was supposed to end the war. By early 1945, the campaign it was built for is failing. The problem is altitude and weather. Over Japan, there are on average 7 days of clear skies each month. A powerful jet stream tears across the upper atmosphere, scattering bombs far from their targets. The crews are flying at 30,000 feet, aiming at factories through clouds they cannot see through. On the first major raid against Japan, over 120 B-29s are dispatched. Fewer than 2 bombs actually land within the target area. A 100-acre engine factory. 2 bombs out of 1,000. Operational losses from Japanese air defenses, from mechanical failure, from the sheer difficulty of sustaining combat operations 8 hours from home. All of it is climbing. In January 1945, a new commander arrives in the Marianas. His name is Curtis Emerson LeMay. He is 38 years old, a major general commanding the 21st Bomber Command, and he has inherited a machine that is not working. He's a difficult man to look at. Stocky and broad-chested, with a wide jaw and an expression that reads as contempt even in photographs. The right side of his face is slightly drawn. Bell's palsy, a nerve paralysis caught when he was running his crews at 20 hours a day over Germany and running himself the same way. The condition prevents the right side of his face from forming a smile. He keeps a cigar clamped in his jaw, the only way to keep the muscles working. His men called him Iron Ass. He led the Regensburg raid himself in 1943. 146 B-17s beyond fighter escort range. Deep into Germany, 24 of them lost. He cares about his crews. His face cannot show it. His boss, General Hap Arnold, is not a patient man. Arnold has had 4 heart attacks since the war began, the most recent in January, the same month LeMay takes command. One of Arnold's aides delivers the message without ceremony. If you don't get results, you'll be fired. LeMay has arrived in the Pacific with the most powerful bomber force ever assembled, a campaign in ruin, and a pistol against his temple. He sits with the problem the only way he knows how. In silence, with the cigar, for days. The plan LeMay arrives at breaks with virtually every doctrine the Army Air Forces has built its strategy around. He will not bomb from 30,000 feet. He will bomb from 5,000 to 9,000. Low enough that the B-29s will be audible from the street below, low enough that their silver hulls will be silhouetted against the fires they are starting. He will not bomb in formation. The combat box, the mutual protection of massed firepower, gone. Each aircraft will fly alone. And the defensive guns? He strips them from the planes entirely, along with the gunners and the ammunition. The weight saved allows him to double the bomb load. Every aircraft packed with incendiaries, magnesium, white phosphorus, and napalm. His own intelligence officers look at the plan and predict that 70% of the bomber force will be destroyed. LeMay listens. He does not revise the plan. The target is a 3-by-4-mile rectangle in eastern Tokyo, a neighborhood called Shitamachi, the Low City, where the Sumida and Arakawa rivers hem in some of the most densely packed residential and commercial land in the world. American intelligence has studied this district carefully. The buildings are wood and bamboo and rice paper, pressed together along narrow streets. The Office of Strategic Services rates it the most combustible district in Tokyo. Over 50% of the city's industrial output is dispersed through these residential blocks. Small workshops, cottage factories, 10-man operations that supply machine parts for the larger war industries. Destroy the neighborhoods, and you destroy the supply chain. There is a precedent the planners know about. In 1923, the same district, the same geography, the same wooden streets between the same two rivers, was consumed by fire after the Great Kanto earthquake. Tens of thousands died. American planners have the earthquake in their files. They use the geography of that catastrophe as a reference for this one. The operational orders LeMay issues to his crews state that the attack's purpose is to destroy the small factories within the target area. They also state that it is intended to cause civilian casualties as a means of disrupting production. The killing of civilians is not a side effect. It is a documented, stated objective. LeMay notifies his headquarters on March 8th, a day he knows his superior officers will both be absent. He explains why, later. He wanted to protect Arnold from blame if the attack failed. He is carrying this decision alone. In private, he frames the stakes in the plainest possible terms. If we lose, he says, we'll be tried as war criminals. He knows. He gives the order anyway. March 9th, 1945. Evening is settling over Shitamachi. The low city is everything the maps cannot capture. Narrow lanes between wooden houses, the smell of cooking from open windows, rice paper screens glowing amber in the early dark. The men are mostly gone. At the front, at sea, in the ground somewhere in the Pacific. What remains are the families they left behind. Mothers and grandparents and children. Workers too old or too young for the army. People who have organized their lives around the workshops that are part of their homes. The cottage trade that is simply how the neighborhood functions. 8-year-old Haruyo Nihei is preparing for bed. Air raid sirens begin to sound around 10:30 at night. Most people pay little attention. Tokyo has had sirens before. The civil defense doctrine is clear. Stay where you are. Shelter in place. Fight fires with bucket brigades if they start. The instructions have been drilled into every household. There are shelters beneath the streets, concrete and earth, built for exactly this kind of night. The wind off the southwest is strong tonight. Stronger than usual, even for early March. The air is cold and very dry. The streets are quiet in the way that cities become quiet when their populations have grown accustomed to emergency. Haruyo's family goes to their shelter. They do not know that 800 miles to the south, the first B-29s have already left the ground. At 5:30 in the afternoon of March 9th, the first superfortress lifts off from Guam's North Field. Then another at 50-second intervals. From Guam, from Saipan, from Tinian. Over 300 aircraft rising into the Pacific dusk and turning north. The long flight takes hours. Below them, open ocean, black and featureless. Just after midnight, the Pathfinders arrive over Tokyo. They come in from opposite directions, two streams crossing at the center of the target. Their bombs fall and ignite immediately. The Pathfinders pull away. What they leave behind is a burning X, visible from miles out, clawing at the night sky above Shitamachi, a marker that every aircraft that follows can navigate to without instruments. The main force begins arriving at 1:30 in the morning. They come individually, not in formation, exactly as planned. At 5,000 feet, their engines are massive and close. The people in the streets below can hear them as a constant low thunder that does not stop. Each aircraft carries its load of M69 incendiary clusters. The clusters fall from the open bays, and at around 2,500 feet, they break apart, releasing 38 6-pound bomblets each, napalm charges ignited by white phosphorus, designed to burn through wooden roofs and keep burning on whatever lies beneath. The wind is doing the rest, 45 miles per hour on the ground. 67 in gusts, far beyond anything that was planned for. Individual fires that might have burned separately begin to reach one another. The heat generates its own wind. The wind carries burning debris, clothing, timber, tatami mats, horizontally across the streets, igniting new fires hundreds of meters from the last. Asphalt begins to liquefy. Temperatures inside the conflagration reach 1,800 degrees, perhaps more. In some accounts, 2,800. Far back in the bomber stream, Richard Bale of the 9th Bombardment Group can almost read a document by the light rising from below. He thinks about what that means. He can't stop thinking about it. The smoke reaches the cockpits. The smell reaches the cockpits. That smell, the one that has no name. Maynard David opens the bomb bay doors over the target. The smoke pours in. He drops his bombs. He closes the doors. The smell stays. The pilot orders the doors open again to let the fresh air clear it. The fresh air does not clear it. Haruyo Nihei's father is in the shelter when he makes the decision that saves his family's lives. He can feel the heat building. He can hear what the fires are doing. He understands, without anyone having told him, that the doctrine is wrong, that if they stay, they will be cooked alive. He tells his family they have to run. They come out into the street and the street is unrecognizable. The wind is screaming. Burning debris is moving horizontally. Clothing and pieces of wood and tatami mats flying past like leaves in a river, except the river is fire. Whole bolts of flame are traveling down the narrow lanes. The people around them are running. Some of them are already burning. I saw a baby on fire on a mother's back. Nihei will say more than 60 years later, her voice giving no quarter to the distance between then and now. I saw children on fire, but they were still running. The families who followed the official instructions, who sheltered in place and trusted the civil defense doctrine, are dying. Those who broke the rules, who ran against every instruction they had been given, have a chance. The Japanese state that organized their civil defense could not save them. The Japanese state that demanded their sacrifice could not protect them. And the American state that organized the raid had classified them, in writing, as a military objective. Haruyo's family runs. Across the city, Koyo Ishikawa is driving as fast as the streets allow. He is 40 years old, a Metropolitan Police Department photographer, and he has loaded his Leica with Kodak film and started his Chevrolet with the intention of recording what no one else is recording. From the roof of police headquarters, he watched the eastern sky turn red. He saw the fires find each other and merge into something that had no seam. He drove out into it. As I was driving at full speed along Showa Road, he later writes in his diary, fire trucks and police security patrol vehicles overtook me, their sirens wailing. When I got to the Asakusabashi crossroads, I was confronted with a gruesome spectacle, a conflagration of raging flames swirling in the wind. He photographs what he finds. He finds the body of Police Chief Tanisu, a man he knew, sitting in his chair, in his office, in a mummified state. The iron frame of the chair is all that remains around him. He is holding his child. Ishikawa photographs it. He keeps driving. The rivers and canals are filling with people who have fled there to escape the heat, wading in, going under to wet their hair and their clothing. Some survive, some do not. The water begins to heat. Those who cling to bridge pilings find the metal too hot to hold. By dawn, the fires are pulling back from the edges of what they have consumed. The 16 square miles they have eaten lie flat and grey in the morning light, ash and occasional chimneys, brick and iron frame where there were buildings, nothing where there were people. And then something else. Something falling. Ash from the fires, rising on thermal columns and drifting back to earth. Incinerated wood, incinerated paper, incinerated cloth. Falling across the ruins and the streets and the survivors moving through them, silent, grey, wrong. A survivor writes, with scorched faces and bloodshot eyes, many of them could hardly see. There was an endless stream of refugees from the fires. We too were part of this procession of ghosts. The B-29s returned to their bases through the morning of March 10th. LeMay's intelligence officers predicted 70% of the force would not come back. The actual number lost is somewhere between 12 and 27 aircraft, out of over 300 that flew. Under 10%, not 70, under 10. General Arnold's congratulatory telegram arrives. This mission shows your crews have the guts for anything. The numbers come in over the following days. 267,000 buildings destroyed. The Tokyo Fire Department estimates 97,000 dead. American intelligence estimates 88,000. Other counts run higher. The figure most cited then and now is 100,000. The true count was never precisely established. 1 million people had lost their homes. By some estimates, 1.5 million. Tokyo burned for days. Ishikawa buries his photographic negatives in the garden behind his house. He chooses to put the record underground rather than surrender it to whoever comes after. When occupation authorities learn of the photographs, they compel him to exhume them, dig them up, hand over copies, surrender the only complete visual archive of that night to the nation that organized it. The photographs disappear into military filing systems. They will not be widely seen for decades. The campaign does not pause. The following week, Nagoya, Osaka, Kobe. By the end of the war, 66 Japanese cities have been burned, 178 square miles of urban Japan, 330,000 dead in the strategic bombing campaign as a whole. And then, in August, Hiroshima, then Nagasaki. Some historians have argued that after March 10, 1945, there was no moral bright line left to cross. The industrial-scale killing of civilians from the air had become routine, not aberration, but method. The psychological and institutional infrastructure for the atomic decision was not built in the summer of 1945. It was built on this winter night over Shitamachi, while an 8-year-old girl and her father ran through a river of fire. More than 80 years have passed. The death toll remains disputed. The photographs were suppressed. Japan rebuilt its capital with the speed of a nation that needed urgently to stop looking at rubble, and each building that rose made the rubble more remote. The Olympic Games came to Tokyo in 1964, and Tokyo showed the world a city that had risen. The city that had burned was not part of the story being told. In America, the moral debate about the bombing of Japan was absorbed almost entirely by the atomic question. Hiroshima had a name everyone could say. It had a photograph everyone had seen. It had a horror with a distinct shape and a technology that was genuinely new. What happened in Shitamachi on March 10, 1945 used conventional weapons. Incendiaries, not atoms. The method was not novel. And novelty, it turned out, outweighed scale in the ledger of historical memory. More people died here in one night than in Hiroshima. More than Nagasaki. And the world, more or less, looked away. Curtis LeMay was never charged with anything. After the war, he commanded American air forces in Europe and directed the Berlin Airlift, the operation that kept a blockaded city alive by air, month after month, through a Soviet winter. He built strategic air command into the core of American nuclear deterrence. He ran for vice president in 1968. He was decorated by the Federal Republic of Germany. He was decorated by Japan. He died in 1990, 45 years after his bombers left the Marianas, with his medals and whatever private accounting he had made of a life that contained all of it at once. In 2006, a memorial center opened in Koto Ward, built on the ground of the Shitamachi district, the center of the Tokyo raids and war damage. It stands where the fires were, on streets that were once ash. Haruyo Nihei, who was 8 years old the night she ran through that fire, was there when it opened. She has been making sure someone knows for a long time. "I don't think," she says, "that most people really understand what happened." She's not asking for vengeance. She's not asking for a verdict. She says, "We want to show that in war it is the weak and vulnerable, women, the elderly, children, who are too often the victims." Curtis LeMay said, "If we lose, we'll be tried as war criminals." He won. He was not tried. The question he named, whether there was a threshold, whether the distance between the altitude at which a decision is made and the altitude at which it lands can ever really be closed, was never put to him. It was never put to anyone. It was simply left open. The ash fell across the ruins of Shitamachi in the hours before dawn on March 10, 1945. Slow and gray, carried up by the heat and returned by gravity. The remains of 267,000 buildings. The remains of everything inside them. The Japanese gave it a name. They called it the Night of the Black Snow.